Welcome to the top 24 stories of 2024 from Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily television news, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
We are proud to announce that YouTube has recognized Queer News Tonight, certified by analytics company vidIQ as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show with over 10 million views on the only daily live queer news show in the world.
This is the most popular and subscribed to LGBTQ brand in Florida and one of the top in the world, baby.
It is Wednesday, December 25th. Merry Christmas and happy first day of Hanukkah and Kwanzaa. We are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we are going to tell on Queer News Tonight.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show. Hotspots Magazine, happening on our television network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ community.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight.
Hi everyone, ho ho ho, I'm a ho. That's not what I meant. I am your lead anchor tonight, FayWhat, and I'm joined tonight by these incredible anchors and friends, Von Biggs, Bonnie Builder, TriniDaddy, and Gregg Shapiro. This is a special broadcast of Queer News Tonight.
2024 has been one of the most dramatic for the LGBTQ community in history. Queer News Tonight brought you so many of the stories this year.
Combined, Hotspots Happening Out has brought you more than 2,500 stories about and for our LGBTQ community. We don't know what 2025 will bring.
There is fear over the transfer of power on January 20th. So we thought we would finish our year by looking back. Of those 2,500 stories, let's look at the top 24 stories of 2024.
This curated list is drawn from Queer News Tonight, the FayWhat Show, Queer God Squad, and Hotspots Magazine. This is what was important to all of us in the 24 of 2024.
And promote traditional family values. Gareth Gore, an expert on Opus Dei, notes that the parallels between Project 2025 and Opus Dei's reactionary stance against societal progress. Opus Dei influence extends to other prominent figures like Leonard Leo, former executive vice president of the Federalist Society. Although Opus Dei claims to focus solely on spiritual aims, critics argue that its secretive nature and involvement in political projects reveals a broader agenda. Trump's running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, maintains a close relationship with Roberts. It should be noted that Pope Francis this year specifically called out what he called radically conservative Catholics as what was standing in the way of the reforms in the Vatican. Perhaps Project 2025 and Opus Dei were what he was referring to.
You know, these are the religious groups that scare the living crap out of me, right? I saw Da Vinci Code, I know, you know? So it makes a lot of sense that, of course, this guy, Kevin Roberts, is a part of that. That's where he goes to mass. That is the group that he's a part of, right? And that is the same things that are in Project 2025 are the things that Opus Dei are against and for as well, right? Basically, transgenders, anybody transgender being banned from the military, getting rid of all gender-affirming care, having Medicare and Medicaid not cover any gender-affirming care for LGBTQ+, getting rid of the National Weather Service, getting rid of FEMA, getting rid of Homeland Security. I can go on and on and on. These are just the tip of the iceberg of what Project 2025 has in store for us. And of course, Kevin Roberts was the architect for it. He's perfect for it. You know, he's got all these family values that he wants to make sure are upheld coming in 2025 that are directly affecting most people in our community.
Think of it this way. The Heritage Foundation is the Fourth Reich, and Kevin Roberts is the love child of Heinrich Himmler and Joseph Goebbels. Think of it that way.
I think I'm still trying to wrap my head around Project 2025 and this like radical white Christian nationalism. And I say white Christian nationalism because it's not in the black community. That none of the people who are heading up the RNC believe in any of this. All right, RNC now stands for what? Rapist National Convention Committee. So the fact that they're raping up all these women, and of course they're going to want contraception and they're going to want abortion, but somehow they feel like, well, I guess there's a certain demographic that maybe is going to contribute funds to our campaign, so we're going to play into that. Then the American people don't want that either.
No.
So it's like nobody really wants it, but they're all playing to some kind of boogeyman that they think wants it. It's a very bizarre place in our history that I think we're going to study for the next few years.
And to look at Opus Dei, I think, and it said it in the headline, secret. I mean, how many of these are out there that we don't know?
More than you realize, yeah.
Scary times. We're bringing you a special presentation of the 24 biggest stories of the year, and we call it the Top 24 of 2024. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story of 2024. I'm TriniDaddy, and let's queer up at the top stories of this year, number 17 of 2024. 5 people come forward accusing Shangela. This story was broadcast on April 8th on the FayWhat show. RuPaul's Drag Race star Shangela was accused of sexual assault by several people. Since this clip aired, the lawsuit was dismissed, quote, with prejudice, end quote, meaning it cannot be refiled.
So Shangela, aka Darius Jeremy, DJ Pierce. Shangela's been soaring high with gigs in TV and film and even co-hosting We're Here. She's actually going to come down the street to Dania Beach here in South Florida coming up. But there's some serious drama brewing. Reports have been swirling since 2023 about Pierce's alleged predatory behavior, and now Rolling Stone is spilling all the deets. In a recent expose, they've uncovered disturbing allegations from 5 sources claiming that Shangela sexually assaulted them or tried to. The victims shared chilling, similar stories, and they're speaking out despite fears of backlash from anti-drag agendas. Looks like the drama's far from over and just begun.
I have no idea what is going on with that story. I mean, it was first reported that there was, these sexual assault stories coming from multiple people, which whenever that happens, you do want to take it seriously. But having the case dismissed with prejudice, it's kind of an interesting development in that. And I'm not sure what that means necessarily for all the people that have come forward already, or if there are any other people that are coming forward after this suit was originally filed. Unfortunately, because the conservative right in this country are lumping in, trans and drag queens together, they're taking the ball and running with this to make this seem like, we're of course pedophiles and groomers and all of that stuff. So that's really unfortunate, but whatever happens with this story, I hope that justice is served.
I'm a huge Shangela fan. I mean, like, she loves to be down here. She's always down here. She's a big supporter of our queens down here. So when I did this story, I was affected by it because she was one of my favorite queens. And it wasn't one allegation. There was like 5. Okay? Like, that's where it was tough, right? But one of them was a production assistant named Daniel McGargy, and he permanently dropped his lawsuit. Like, I don't know if he got paid out on the side or what happened, but I mean, his initial lawsuit had false imprisonment, had rape in it. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, I got drunk and I woke up and Shangela was there. It was like false imprisonment. That means somebody's not letting you out of their place, or not putting you in a closet, not letting you out, So, very serious charges. The fact that they were dropped with prejudice, without
prejudice,
with prejudice, which means that the person who filed it initially cannot refile it, has saved her a lot of headache and heartache. I hope that this is not how she really is, right? But I mean,
who knows if there are others out there?
If there's 5, then there's 10. That's what breaks my heart about it, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if we do another story in 2025 about somebody else coming out. I hope it's not the case, folks. But I'm saying, look at track records of other people that have sexually assaulted or sexually hurt somebody. It's never 1 or 2 cases. It just isn't.
So I want to speak on Shangela's co-host of the show We're Here, Bob the Drag Queen. I listened to her podcast, The Sibling Rivalry, and Bob actually spoke on this. Okay. Well, Bob actually spoke around this.
Okay.
Bob said that he is fully aware of the accusations made towards his co-host, Shangela, but he is not in a place where he can speak on it. But he does feel for those who have made these claims towards Shangela. He respects, and he is hearing those who are accusing Shangela of these allegations. So he's not dismissing their feelings. And this is a huge thing because Bob is like the queen for the people.
Yeah.
Right.
They're like, Bob is such an amazing stature of excellence and drag and all that good stuff. How can you work with and stand next to Shangela and not say anything? Behind the scenes, we never know.
Yeah.
There's stuff going on behind the scenes here that we don't know about. But behind the scenes, you don't know what the conversation is like. So Bob made the calculated point to speak on it, but just speak in support of those who have made these claims. Whether it's true or not, we do not have that information, but I think he really rode that line professionally.
Yeah.
So in other words, we don't know anything.
So
That was about to say we don't know, which is what Bob did, literally. Yeah.
So we don't know, right? Right.
But how many times have we seen, and not just in drag culture, obviously, but in history where people have been accused by a lot of people, was dismissed, and then later to find out it was true.
R. Kelly.
Right.
Weeks ago, Jay-Z. Yeah.
Jay-Z, Puff Daddy. I mean, we're in the we're in it right now.
Right. So it's
like all the beautiful performers that I grew up with, I've had to delete from my Spotify. Michael Jackson, R. Kelly, Puff Daddy.
Right. And I'm not saying Shangela is
No,
guilty. Of course,
Right.
I want to make sure that's clear. But we see that happening, and it's unfortunate because it makes me wonder how good our legal system is when it's coming to prove these cases.
And let this be a PSA for all of you up-and-coming drag queens, celebrities, performers. When you get into a space and somebody says, hey, you could do this, nobody's going to find out, they will find out. All right? Stay on the up and up. Stay on the up and up.
NDA.
NDA. So, folks, we are bringing you a special presentation of the 24 biggest stories of the year. We call it the Top 24 of 2024. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now, let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story of 2024. I'm Gregg Shapiro, and let's queer up the top stories of the year. This is number 16 of 2024. Hateful Trump ad leads to a legal threat from drag queen Pattie Gonia. This story was broadcast on October 9th on Queer News Tonight. An anti-transgender ad run by the Trump campaign against Kamala Harris featured images of drag activist Pattie Gonia, who is considering legal action against the presidential candidate.
Hateful Trump ad leads to a legal threat from drag queen Pattie Gonia. A drag queen and climate activist, Pattie Gonia, is considering legal action after being featured without consent in an anti-transgender ad by former President Donald Trump's campaign. The ad, which aired during prominent football games, has drawn significant backlash. It targets Vice President Kamala Harris for supporting gender-affirming healthcare for incarcerated individuals. The ad also includes images of other LGBTQ+ figures in the Biden-Harris administration, such as Assistant Secretary for Health Rachel Levine, and concludes with the statement, quote, "Kamala's for they, them. President Trump is for you," end quote. Pattie Gonia recently took to Instagram expressing her frustration, saying, quote, "Thousands of you are letting me know that I'm in a Trump ad that attacks queer and trans people. Wasn't exactly on my bingo card this year," end quote.
Yes, hello. Thousands of you letting me know that I'm in a Trump ad that attacks queer and trans people wasn't exactly on my bingo card this year. In the ad, Trump continues to use queer people to attack Kamala Harris, to divide our nation, and to wage a war against gender-affirming care, which we know saves lives. I'm not going to give the whole ad more airtime, but here's a snippet.
Every transgender inmate would have access.
Kamala's for they, them. President Trump is for you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Is this seriously the best they've got? No, the Trump campaign did not have my permission to use my name or likeness. Yes, we are reviewing our legal options. And yes, I'm going to do what queer people always do. Turn our pain into something positive. And that is why I'm using this moment to raise money for trans and gender-affirming healthcare at the link in my bio. So if you'd like to join me in saying a big f*** to Trump, you know where to go. Vote this fall and make America gay again.
You're fired. Get out of here. You're fired.
Her legal team is now exploring options regarding the unauthorized use of her likeness. Her spokesperson confirmed the possibility of legal action, stating they're evaluating the situation. Despite the hateful ad, Pattie Gonia has used the movement to raise awareness and funds for gender-affirming healthcare. She announced on Instagram, quote, "Thank you, you did it. You raised $15,000 in one day for trans healthcare," end quote. The fundraiser associated with her post has closed, but continue to follow her on Instagram at Pattie Gonia for more activism.
All I can say is, go, Pattie Gonia, go!
You know, how many times have we heard in the media that we are doing transgender, having surgeries in our schools?
Yeah.
We're having them in our jails.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that we've heard that. Of course,
Yeah.
there's no pictures.
Propaganda.
Like it, but,
Yeah, and that Kamala was going to pay for all of them.
right.
If only they were going to be free. I'm a huge, not huge, I'm a fan. I follow Patagonia on Instagram, and I appreciate the work that she does. She does the drag outside in the woods, so I don't have to. So I really appreciate her for saving the planet with her Captain Planet looking ass. But yeah, that was a wild situation to occur. How did the Trump campaign people find Pattie Gonia and decide to put it in this image was wild and weird. Trump, one of your people is like a fan of the dolls. So like, I don't know how this came about. How they found this footage. You need to be asking your cabinet, like, which one of y'all is a little toot fruit? Like, how did that happen?
They got this footage from a Pride event in 2022, and they decided to just use it in one of their campaigns. But there's IP laws in effect right now that are still in effect as of right now. Who knows what will happen next year, folks, right? But that it safeguards creators' work. If it is your work as a creator, you're allowed to not be used without your permission, you know? So I hope she gets some money from this. Right? All the research that we've done says that it's still pending. So, you know, there's been no other update since then. So sorry.
Oh, I was
go.
going to say, I wish that the DNC would have used these same tactics, because everybody that Trump was hand selecting had said the worst things about him in just 2-3 years ago, even last year, talking about him as Hitler, talking about him as
unfit.
Yeah, deranged, all of this stuff.
Fat, ugly.
So I wish that the Democrats would have played with a little fire with fire and said, look, these are your people. This is what they're saying. I think maybe that would have resonated a little more with the American people.
Too nice. Definitely played way too nice. So we are bringing you a special presentation of the 24 biggest stories of the year, and we call it the Top 24 of 2024. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. We are looking back at the top LGBTQ news stories of the year from Queer News Tonight. These anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ plus and ally community, and we want to tell the stories of our queer community.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines.
We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, FayWhat, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, my little elves, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Von Biggs, Bonnie Builder, TriniDaddy, and Gregg Shapiro. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you love, generosity, bravery, while being transformative and queer, okay? Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever it is that you're celebrating, reach out to someone less fortunate and just say, I see you. All right?
I see you.
Mother effer. Good night, everyone. We love you.